What's up, guys? It's Chris. Welcome to VHP Engines. So this is one of those things where I've seen a topic on, and as of course I haven't had the people come to me so much directly, and nobody's ever had the come to me to ask me directly for this. But and I've also never asked for this, but I can speak from experience from this situation, and on multiple sides. One, because I've actually been sponsored, and two, because I've been around enough of the guys, the big guys, to know what they're looking for when they want to sponsor thing. And it's multiple things. Well, no, I wouldn't say a lot, but a couple things are really important, right? So this kind of touches on something I've talked about before too, with like people want to do rare builds. Like you hear people like, I want to do something that nobody's done before, right? Or everybody's done that build, so why do I do that? A couple things, right? One of these things is I've mentioned before about the unique thing is that it's extremely hard to find a unique build nowadays because shit's been around for a long time. A lot of times when you say, oh, people don't really do this, usually when you see a platform that's not being utilized too much and people not doing it, it's for a reason. Whether it be lack of aftermarket support, lack of tunability, all these things, right? It's just not as viable as doing something else, or maybe it's a more expensive route than something else that's more cost effective, right? So that's why people, when people tend to mass avoid something, then you realize there's for a reason. It's so a lot of times when I see these people talking about I want to be unique, I want to stand out, these are people who really don't have a lot of money, and I don't. So whatever, I don't get that, but it is what it is. So okay. So get a sponsorship. The first thing is and I would say this is the least important. Maybe not the least important, but just the first thing is I want to say is your ability to bring eyes to the product, and whether you're somebody whose personality meshes with what the product represents or whatnot. So your ability to showcase what it is that you're being sponsored to use, like hey, I'm using this, and you're putting eyes on it, right? The first time I came across a sponsorship was like that. I do these discussion videos on YouTube. I talk about different things, my opinion on shit, what I've used and how my results have been with it and whatnot. And that led to the sponsorship, which, because that guy is connected with a whole bunch of other guys and other people who volunteered and multiple sponsors from one. So there's that, right? So me putting eyes on a product in a good way got enough attention in a very early time, because I think this tiny YouTube channel is still tiny, but it was super tiny back when I got it. I think I was like 2,000 subscribers when I got that first sponsorship, and that has led to a relationship that has blossomed greatly and very much still in effect and going now. Now, also, you guys that have been watching long term know that I have a project car that's been sitting and it's not finished and I'm not running, and I don't have a garage. I don't have a place where I can work in privacy. I'd have to work out in the sun, in the grass. It's very uncomfortable for me. I'm a night owl. I like to work at night. I like to work in privacy and peace, and I can't do that. If I have to work during the day on my car, then it's just never going to happen, right? It has to be a nighttime thing for me, and I can't work at night outside. So my car has been sitting forever because I haven't really had a lot of time. The one time in the period that I've owned this car that I had a garage and was able to do, work like that, I didn't have the money to spare. So it was a weird situation there. Hopefully I plan on getting a new house this year. If I get a new house, I get what I want, then it's not just going to be my one project car. It's going to be finished. It's going to be multiple. But I need a place where I can work properly. And that's not been the case yet. So that's why this almost the entire length of the channel, I have not had a project car of my own. The last project car I built, it got stolen right as I got finished. So it's kind of like, took my motivation there, and I'm constantly busy. I'm constantly busy doing work for other people and at my regular job. So I really just don't have a lot of time. So anyway, to carry on for the second part, the second thing is, I guess this is the reason why I say that the other one's least important. This one's more important, because this one is the most important, I believe. And because when you talk about this reason for getting a sponsorship, comes from what the big guys in the industry are looking for. Like if trying to get a sponsorship from 4Piston Racing, or these big guys that are the companies that are go fast. All right, so you're like, why would I want to do that build? Everybody else is doing it. You're right. But this is what racing falls into. Racing falls into classes and categories. So you're in the same class and same category, but what are you going to do that's going to be faster than the other guy? So the quickest way I would say to sponsor, despite the fact that how I came across mine, I would say for the regular average Joe, the quickest way to come across a sponsor is to go fast. Build a car, put it on the track, start getting results. Show improvement. So even if you got a stock single cam and you're out there running 16s, if you can keep shaving those times down until you got it perfected at that power level, and then get more power and then perfect that and start working your way down, that's how you're going to get it. I think 4Pistons' relationship with Humble Performance came like that. Was it Alex had his car and started making progressive, results, had steady moving up, and then eventually they were watching, 4Pistons was like, we're watching this guy, and now we're starting to see what we want, and then that's how the relationship happened. Eventually they reached out, and product was exchanged. I would imagine a head was exchanged first, and then from a head it was a whole long block or whatnot. I don't know the 100% details there. It's just from watching both sides and hearing a little bit of stories from what I can piece together here and there. That's along the lines of how it went. So so I have my sponsorship that, like I told you, blossomed into relationships that are still standing today. So I'm still reaping benefits from that initial sponsorship, even though I haven't had that's not, I'm lying right there. Let me calm down. Let me stop. So I had my initial first, gift given, and then, and I use that to build my project car. The car runs, and technically it drives, but it's just not finished. It's nowhere near safe to be on the road. Like it's the half end of it in the front still kind of falling apart. And I have the shit that I need to fix. I just need to actually get the time and place to do it. So there's that, right? And then later on at a Honda Day, I was given a gift, and I was given a bunch of pistons. Not a bunch, well, two boxes of pistons, which is a lot because we're talking about about $1,000 in parts right there. And then also recently I did the video on the new Vitara pistons that Nippon Racing is doing, and I got those gifted to me as well. Now, as far as when it comes to gifts, I love gifts. I love gifts of all kinds. They're all appreciative. I don't give them away. I don't resell them, so I never make profit off anything. Anything's been gifted to me. But if I can't use it myself and I feel like it's not going to be a good time or anytime soon that I can, what I like to do is re-gift that to somebody who I feel like I can trust. Like, I am a little guy, but I have enough on hand that I can also sponsor somebody too. And I've offered multiple times. Now, the people I've offered to sponsor is few because I need somebody who has the money to be able to finish the job, and more importantly, the know-how. Like, for me to sponsor somebody, I'm looking for somebody who races, who gets results fast, and who I know can do the work. So I guess races, who I know can do the work, and gets results fast. That's the proper order. And unfortunately, I don't know very many people like that. And then the one or two people I've reached out for, like, it seems like I don't know whether they're unwilling or whatever, who doesn't want to take a free engine. I don't know, but that is what it is. If for me, who I'm looking, that's what I'm looking for. So I'd imagine that a lot of the other guys are looking for the same shit too. If I'm going to sponsor you, it's not just like hold my product and say it's good. I want you to be able to take my product, go out there and show results with it, because the results of what you get are more important towards advertising and selling later on. So one of the things I get all the time is, why don't you do this, Chris? Why don't you do that? Why don't you show results? It's because I just don't have time to build a whole bunch of fucking cars. Like, I have a full-time job, a family, and a secondary job that's also full-time, because VHP Engines is a full-time work thing. So, I don't, if I had a place, I would make time to build cars, but even then, like, how many project cars am I realistically going to churn out every year? I don't have the luxury of guys, and it's not just the Boosted Boys, because I say that's my easy go-to, because that's the cop-out. Everybody knows him. But there's other channels out there. There's plenty of other guys out there who just do the car thing on YouTube, and they have the money from YouTube that they can that's all they do, is they just film stuff all the time and get projects done. Well, that's not the case for me. So there's not really such thing as downtime. And so if I don't have a lot of free time of my own, that means that whenever I do have free time, I'm doing another job for somebody. So it doesn't really leave a lot of space for me to just do whatever I want for me. And again, I'm not complaining about that. And hopefully, if everything works well, this changes in the next couple of years. Hopefully that I can give up one job or the other, or hopefully I can get away from the 9 to 5 and actually do VHP Engines full time. I still don't see that happening anytime soon though. But yeah, so a lot of times, guys, if you're looking for a sponsorship, first thing I'm going to say is get a fucking Instagram if you don't already have one, and don't put that shit on private. Your Instagram is your online resume. If you want people to see what you're doing and see what you're capable of doing, you need to be able to have people see. And if you're putting it on private to try and bait somebody into following you so they can see what you're doing, they're not going to do that. The chances are they're going to see a private name or a private group if it comes across, and they're just going to scroll past it. They don't care. I'm not going to follow somebody just to see whatever the fuck they're throwing on Instagram. I hate the Instagram suggested posts. There's one of the main reasons why I don't follow a lot of people is because I only want to see what I'm following. But Instagram is always trying to push shit, especially so much this year. Like, it didn't seem like this before, but Instagram is constantly pushing shit into my feed. Like, so it used to be that I would log on my Instagram and go through and I would only see what people I'm following, and it would always be that way. So even if I saw those posts, if I came back on again, if nobody updated, I would see the same old shit. Now it's like I'll go through my posts, and then once I've seen everything that's new, it'll show me nothing from my people that I'm following, and it'll be constantly just random shit, and I hate that. So that's why I don't give a lot of follows on IG. I just don't want to see everybody's random shit, to be honest. I want to be able to focus and find the things that I've chosen to follow. That's the reason why I chose to follow it, because I want to see that thing. So get an Instagram if you don't have one. If you do have one, don't leave your shit on private. And then at the end of the day, even if you take a cheap ass shitty shit box out to the track with a slow ass engine in it, you need to get to the track. You need to start practicing. You need to start getting good at drag racing. And then you need to fucking start getting those quarter-mile times down. Do whatever you can. So don't necessarily worry about making the most power possible. What you want to do is just get out there, get good at doing it. And then once you've got as good as you possibly can at one power level, then start trying to increase. And we already know that it doesn't take an insane amount of horsepower to start getting into what's considered impressive numbers, right? It used to be like, 3-4 years ago, it was unheard of to be making the power NA that these K-Series are doing. A 300 horsepower NA back in the day would have been extremely impressive. Now it's pretty common and pretty easy to do. So, even if you start with a B series only making 200 horsepower, that's still 200 horsepower is enough, arguably, if you got the chassis down enough to get you into the 12s. And then once you get to that point, once you start getting into the 12-second point, you're at a point where you can say that your car is uncommonly fast, because the majority of production cars are what they run, a low end $20,000 sports car or sporty car will run anywhere in the high 13s to low 14s. And once you start getting to like a real sports car, like, Corvettes and shit like that, depending on the base model or whatnot, GT Mustangs or whatnot, that's when you start getting to the $30,000 plus dollar car range, and you start breaking into the 12s, or low 13s, high 12s. So once you get to the point where you're in the high 12s, you're already at sport car level. You're already competing with most factory sports cars that are $40,000 or high $30,000 to $40,000, and then you go from once you get into the 11s, I would argue at that point you're like a full-on race car, because at that point you're 1 second away from the 10-second bracket, which is fast. Once you get to the 10 flat, I believe is where you need to get a cage, or it might just be breaking into the 10s in general. It's been a while since I checked on the rules there, but at the point where you need a cage to continue to race on a track safely, then that's officially a race car. So if you're looking to get a sponsorship, that's the way to do it. And then also, the last thing I can say is don't ask for one. Don't go to somebody and argue why this is something you want to do. Home Performance has asked a couple times, or they've mentioned a couple times, we're going to see if we can get somebody in on this, like that kind of deal. But the difference between Humble and the regular guy is they've been in the industry for a long time. They've already worked with multiple companies, and they're usually always bringing something to the table. So it's not just a naked ask. You don't want to just go to somebody and the only thing you have to offer in return is likes and follows or whatnot. I'm pretty sure that what's happening on Humble, when they're talking about we're going to talk to another company and collaborate and see if we can get somebody to get in on this, usually what that is they're guaranteeing some kind of marketable money return later. So maybe you give me one and then we can push these and sell, make you more money because we're going to advertise like that and then sell your product, or give this to me at a discounted rate, so that's even then that's not free. You're just asking for a discount. But you can't just go to people and ask for something. And then especially if you do it like in a cocky way. If the best thing you can do to get sponsorships is just go out there on your own without asking anybody for any help and just start showing results. Eventually somebody's going to find you, but you got to be patient. And I think that's the problem with the generation nowadays is nobody's patient. Nobody wants to put into work. They just think that they have an idea and they want immediate results. The same thing, like I see people on Facebook all the time trying to share a YouTube channel, talk about subscribe to my YouTube channel, and they've got 1 3-minute video on there. And like, what the fuck are you doing, guy? You know, if you want to start a YouTube channel, start making content, make regular content on a weekly basis. Make sure that all the content falls within the same category, falls within the same line, and just keep doing that. It took me a year to get 100 subscribers, you know, and I think it took me like a year and a half to 2 years before I really knew exactly what this channel was gonna be. So you just gotta be patient and put the work in, and eventually, if you're doing something that anybody gives a fuck about that's worthwhile, people are gonna start noticing on their own, and you're not gonna have to ask for anything. And even me, like now that I have my sponsorship, like I don't ask for anything. Since my initial sponsorship, the other things that I've been given or offered to me, and of course I accepted because, like I said, I love gifts. So I don't ask anybody for anything, and I appreciate everything that I do get. And I think despite the fact that I've been offered to have more parts given to me to help build a race car, I don't feel like I've done enough to deserve that yet. So like I said, I will accept the gift when somebody offers it, but I'm not going to ask for anything. And this is with somebody already pre-offering to say, if you just want to do something, just say something. And I still feel like I'm not at a point where I deserve to ask that. And I think there are a lot of people that would see where I'm at right now and think that it would be. So yeah, so that's just some tips. I don't want to be ranty on there, but there's a decent amount of people who seem like they're interested in this. And then I've seen other big name companies talk about people that ask for things and, you know, the shit that they have to deal with. And so I guess there are people out there that do ask quite frequently, you know, for sponsorships or whatnot. And I think that may help you with that. All right, guys. So thanks for watching. Social media links are in the description down below, and peace.